everybody, and thank you for coming on this Friday afternoon. It's a little chillier than I was hoping for, but I guess it's not raining any longer. We're very lucky for that. I wanted us to start out here at the courthouse because this is a very appropriate place for us to begin. It is the place where every family who has any dealings with Health and Human Services at all becomes very familiar with. And it's unfortunate because what happens inside these walls is not what the public believes happens when any of us become involved in the Department of Health and Human Services, Child Protective Services, and the juvenile court system. Here we all stand outside of this Lincoln County Courthouse in North Platte, Nebraska, where families and advocates concerned about our children and our communities, our state and our country. This is a building that represents an image to the public of the highest principles of ethics, law, and justice. A building where government officials conduct their business. It's a building where police move through the halls and judges wear robes and oversee the lives of others and the laws of our land. It's also a building now where DHHS caseworkers, supervisors, state contractors, guardians ad litem, and court-appointed attorneys engage in the business of taking and holding our children.
Okay, what?
I have a poem I would like to read that is most appropriate for today.
I'm going to be there a little bit longer.
And helps to explain why some families will choose to wear the masks that you see during our rallies and marches. The poem is called "We Wear the Mask." It's a lyric poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar, who was the son of slaves. Dunbar wrote the poem to express a reality experienced by oppressed Black Americans who were forced to hide their pain and frustration behind a facade of happiness and contentment. Today we have families wearing the mask also to hide their pain and frustrations, for we are labeled and degraded by DHHS workers when we show emotion at the loss of our children. Some of us also wear the mask to protect our identities from government officials who openly threaten retaliation and make good on their threats. And this is how the poem reads. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. The debt we pay to human guile, with torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Sorry, this has gotten a little mixed up here. Maurice, I need your help again. Take that one out. Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. Which brings me to an obvious question that is also important to ask today and in this place. In order to explain why families come together with signs and personal stories to share of pain and grief and anger. Some of us behind masks. Those of us here today who wear a mask do so in order to practice our constitutional right to assemble and to speak openly without allowing officials or DHHS supervisors such as Geraldine Crankshaw, whose name comes up way too often here in North Platte, who threaten our children and the chance for reunification just because they believe they have such power. So we should ask, what is tyranny? Various definitions can be found that include the following: the arbitrary or unrestrained exercise of power, cruel government or discipline, the exercise of power over subjects and others with a rigor not authorized by law or justice, a form of government not restricted by constitution or laws or opposition, arbitrary, unreasonable behavior or the use of authority, a government that maintains repressive control over the people by using police, and in our cases, our beloved children and the well-being of our families, dominance through threat of punishment, oppression, cruelty, coercion. Yes, families here know about tyranny. We know the terror of strangers accompanied by police coming into our homes or our schools, often without warrant, and taking our children away as we all cry in desperation and reach out to each other without a good enough explanation for how this has happened and what will come next. We know tragedy. When our children are placed into dangerous or unhealthy environments against our will that cause them harm and permanently endanger their sense of trust and self. Can you hear me down there at all still? Tyranny is when people are denied justice by their government. Tyranny is when innocent people and our children are not safe from government intrusion within our homes, our schools, and in the public. Tyranny is when government officials can ignore the laws and policies and react in direct conflict with the most fundamental human and constitutional rights of citizens. Tyranny happens when government officials are allowed to operate as a secret entity and with no real oversight or fears of being held accountable by the public. Tyranny happens when agents of the state are allowed to come into our homes and take away our children for whatever reason they choose to give, whatever they choose to give, and to take them forever. Because they know they won't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt their contrived evidence that we are guilty of placing our children in imminent harm situations or that we are unfit to raise our own children. Tyranny is when we have lost children to the state. Officials believe they have the right to automatically remove any newborn child from that point forward and ever again without showing any other need. Tyranny is when people are silenced and intimidated from speaking out. Tyranny is when our children are held hostage for payment, whether from us or from federal incentive programs that inspire child trafficking. Tyranny is when better justice must be purchased, and it's too expensive for most families to endure. It's when our government uses the threat of losing our children as a way to coerce our voiceless cooperation. It's also when our government uses the threat of losing parents, grandparents, and siblings as coercion to force the silent cooperation of children. Tyranny is when our government allows attorneys, encourages attorneys, most often court-appointed, to groom their own careers and make good their relationships with judges rather than to uphold their ethics for which they have taken an oath to represent their client and their interests to the very best of their ability.